Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this seminar. It's the first seminar of this year, of this academic year, and this is the third season of the webinar. So it's like season 3, episode 1. And it's about as Romain shows it on the first slide. It's about bioeconomy, innovation, and new development models. So this is a special issue which is published in the Journal of Innovation, Economics, and Management, and which was issued in, I guess, in September. And so Romain will first present the special issue as a whole, the main concept and idea of the special issue with the different papers. And then we will give the floor to Pietro Beltramello, who will present his paper co-authored with Jean-Philippe Bootz on why should we operationalize bioeconomics for strong sustainability towards a transdisciplinary and systemic approach in line with the Georgescu-Roegen epistemology. So, Romain, I will give you the floor. Take the time you want to take for the presentation of the special issue, and then we will give the floor to Pietro. Thanks again for the two of us having accepted to present the papers and the special issue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mireille. Let's start. So welcome all of you. So let me introduce these special issues entitled Bioeconomy, Innovation, and New Development Models. Okay, so thank you for being here today. As you know, our societies has grown for centuries by extracting mineral resources, such as coal, oil, and also uranium. Numerous innovation has been created to develop and use their full capacity, and they have fostered economic growth and improve our quality of life, our lifestyle. It was in this context during the mainstream economics emerged neoclassical approach. It was found during the 19th century where the idea of abundant fossil resource was taken for granted. Let me change. Okay, apologize for it. However, the other side of the coin quickly became apparent after the Second World War. Fossil fuels have been a major source of energy for many years, promoting economic growth and improving our lifestyle, innovation, and new knowledge. But it developed a lot of environmental concerns. The nuclear war, the nuclear winter, atomic bomb, the war, the Cold War, and this reason for this concern lies in the consequence of continuing infinite growth, a lot of growth. That's why it was time to reclassify the economic theory, especially the economy of innovation. And during the 90s, 3 heterodox development economists try to go further to the economic theory, the neoclassical theory, by proposing new socioeconomic and institutional theories that aims to restore a more balanced relationship between the biosphere and the socioeconomic sphere. It is called the bioeconomy, in which innovation and the diversity of economic development have a special meaning. For instance, let's begin with Georgescu-Roegen, that Pietro will explain later. Georgescu-Roegen is an esteemed colleague of Joseph Alois Schumpeter and promoter of the concept of economic degrowth. This author looks forward to the arrival of a new kind of technology, the Promethean technology, that will lead humanity to a new age of wood based on biomass. He also sees that the renewable carbon chemistry sector play a key role, but we need to be very aware about this concept because it underlines the major role played by the economic of development. So Georgescu-Roegen focus on new kind of technology, promethean technology based on biomass, and the sector of chemistry play a key role with new knowledge, etc., in the context of degrowth. The same ideas of bioeconomy can be found in the French economist René Passet, also a close collaborator of François Peyroux, all of us know, I hope, who proposed his theory of the bioeconomy. And the main lines, the main point, the key point of this theory can be found in the book L'économique et le vivant, written and published in 1979. He placed the information economy, the economic of information and knowledge, at the heart of the computer of this analysis. For instance, analysis of complex systems in automation, computer science, biotechnology, and René Passet showed, and he's still alive, René Passet, best friends of Edgar Morin. He showed that how society mutates. They have some mutation. This mutation is due to a strong relationship between human and nature. So he showed, for instance, for a long time that how human society submit to mutation regarding the pressure exerted by the nature. And then the human is able to take over the nature with innovation, and sometimes the nature come back and destroy the humanity. It's very optimistic. Finally, there is also Ignacy Sachs. Ignacy Sachs, the last one, who initiated the Stockholm Conference in 1972. He encourages the implementation of eco-development strategies based on the creation of a development model linked to the needs of population, the democratic process, and the characteristics and resources of territories. His works emphasize the importance of innovation dedicated to bioconversion. This is the term, the bioconversion, thanks to the sun. He encouraged the development, the implementation of mixed technologies based on the mix between the low-tech and high-tech. It depends on where you are. Maybe in Africa, the needs are different to Asia. And he underlines the key role played by plant-based chemistry, green chemistry, if you like. So this special issue proposed to reimagine new economic theories of innovation in the light of an ecological bioeconomy represented by these three authors. This special issue do not promote a single solution, a single theory, but encourages a diversity of solutions adapted to the places where societies are developing. It depends on where we are, so we need to be very, we need to implement the agility in terms of theory by mixing tools and point of view. The four papers composing this special issue provide an overall picture of this complexity, the complexity of a sustainable transition triggered by the bioeconomy. Okay, so it depends of this transition could be triggered by radical technological improvements, thanks to new business organizational models, new kind of behaviors in terms of consumptions. And sometimes we need to focus on the reconfiguration of our society. So we need we promote in this special issue excuse me, with the headphone, it's not very easy, institutional point of view. Okay. So let's begin. I will present it shortly, the three first, Alexandre Berth, Andreas Pica, and Mike Schaller, and I will give the microphone to Pietro for his presentation and his paper. So, Alexandre Berth, Pascal Groyez, Mathilde Fautras from the University of Paris, Paris Diderot, previously. This author focused on the upstream segments of biogas productions from a political economic perspective, aiming to understand the variety of biogas plants from an organizational point of view. So are able to identify various models of development depending of the biogas production. The central point of this paper, of this contribution, is to show how the farmers are taking over this technology and what are the consequences in terms of incomes and in terms of ecological concerns, environmental concerns. The authors draw on data obtained through semi-structured, they use interviews conducted among French farmers and institutional stakeholders and frame their analysis within the conceptual framework of a sectoral system of innovation and production perspective, SSYP. The qualitative assessment allows the authors to identify 4 different agricultural biogas production models. The first one, an internalization and symbiosis model. The second one is a small group of farmers model. The third one is a cereal grower using biogas thanks to injection model. And the last one, the fourth one, is a partial outsourcing and generic technology model. So in this paper show the diversity of methodology and strategy for producing biogas. What they show the underlying the heterogeneity of practices and strategy and investment and incitation. The second paper, written by Andreas Pica, Esgi Ari, Ariana Alva-Ferrari, and Sophie Urtsmetzer, shed light on the co-evolutionary aspects of the bioeconomy transition process. The transformation will not take place overnight, and the transition period offers strategic opportunities. By referring to the historical example of the industrial transformation, transformation, they could compare the production of sailing ships and steamships to show how the transition occurs, and they compare this with the bioeconomy. The authors describe some of the dynamics, and they can observe between the incumbent fossil fuel industry and the opportunities based on bio-based resources. 3 important differences are, the author underlined 3 important differences. The first, if they compare the transition between sailing boats and steamboats, and if we compare, they compare mineral society to a bio-based society, and they underline 3 differences. The first one, it's imminent climate change. It's a systemic event, so it changed a lot the configuration of the society and the transition process. The third reason, the second difference is the consumer preferences. The preferences is a little bit different during this period between the 19th century and today. And the last reason is the key role played by digital opportunities. The digital with information, changing the consumer preferences, and taking into account climate change. And finally, Michael Schleiler, Johan Kask, Joe Brewer, and Christina Bogner, und auf Deutsch, nein, and Sophie Urtsmetzer and Annick de Witt. The author discusses the merits of a cultural evolutionary perspective on sustainability transition by taking by an example, the bioeconomy. The authors show that the transition researchers and the bioeconomic scholars need to be unlocked, and we need to change our normative dimension thanks to the systemic approach. So we need to work together thanks to interdisciplinarity. We need to develop a lot of projects between engineers, economists, sociologists, politicians, in order to understand the complexity of the challenge underlined by emphasis by the bioeconomy. And the authors developed 5 promising propositions to trigger a transition, ecological transitions, thanks to the bioeconomy. The first proposition is the following. The first one is to use a multi-level perspective based on the MLP from the Dutch school specialized in, for instance, Gills, René Kemp, Green, and the integrative worldview, global approach, thanks to systemic approach, underline, take into account the co-evolutionary effect between ecosystem of innovations, taking into account cultural niches. That means that we need to take into account local specificities and understand how it could develop synergy with another territories. And the last one is the pro-social process for nurturing cooperation. So the goal is to understand how the cooperation could be developed and improved regarding the complexity of the topic, the complexity of the methodologies, and and so on. So these 5 propositions can serve as a well-argued foundation for further methodological and empirical work in this direction. So I hope that you will enjoy to read these special issues. And the goal of these issues, as I said previously, is to propose a new kind of theory of innovation for sustainable transition, especially thanks to the bioeconomy. So thank you for your kind attention, and let's go there. Pietro.
Thank you so much, Ron, for your presentation. Let me present. So I'm going to share my screen so we can start. Okay, I hope all of you are seeing the screen. I think it's right. I can start. So as I said before, thank you so much for this special issue that let me present finally one of my passion, that is about the bioeconomics of Nicholas Georgescu-Roegen. As you presented, is one of the main authors of this bioeconomic discourse. In here, I will like to present how we operationalize bioeconomics for strong sustainability, claiming and going towards a transdisciplinary and systemic approach in line with his epistemology. I am Pietro Beltramello. I am from the École de Management de Strasbourg. Likewise, Jean-Philippe Bootz, that unfortunately is not present here. I just say in the beginning that I am recovering from a brain injury, so sometimes I will be maybe lacking of some attention, but no problems. I'm really lucky to be here and presenting this paper that I also present to the 37th EGOS colloquium 1 year ago. So in this paper, you will find you will find 3 main chapters. At the beginning, in the introduction, there will be a discussion on about the operationalization of bioeconomic for strong sustainability. So underlining the importance of strong sustainability especially, and then to understand how to operationalize bioeconomics, I'll start with a literature review in which I will highlight the reason why bioeconomics is important for strong sustainability, then presenting in the second part the different contribution of different authors on the operationalization of this bioeconomics, presenting spatially and highlighting the limitation of this contribution and the reason why so bioeconomics is still lacking of a great resonance and operationalization. So finally, drawing from this contribution and highlighting their comparative advantages, we will present 4 propositions for going towards a transdisciplinary and systemic approach that hopefully will let bioeconomics be operationalized in a more relevant way. So, as said, despite sustainability is receiving increasing interest there is no substantial change in the development trajectories. That is probably because there is no consensus on how we define sustainability, and these led society in a position where we still operate in a dangerous way, pursuing probably, and more specifically, a weaker, the weaker definition of sustainability. In fact, sustainability might be defined as weak and that is the case in most of the approach in the mainstream economics, environmental economics, and the bioeconomy, and so on, where we consider sustainability as the efficient exploitations of natural resources, and this is done mostly by investing and focusing on biotechnological innovation. That comes from theorizing that comes from the implication of a theory that is built around factor substitution and that is based on commensurability of resources and is driven by market factors. So basically, this is weak sustainability is the mainstream paradigm of limitless growth that is contrasted by strong sustainability. That is the definition and is the sustainability definition of operationalization that is less common and that is more complex. In fact, it tries to conceptually imagine economy as embedded in natural and social systems. In fact, it draws on incommensurability of resources, of social and environmental resources. And so it takes biophysical constraints into account to inform economic operation. Actually, this strong sustainability approach has been neglected because of their complexity. In fact, they entail challenge paradigm change in the science as well as in society. But in fact, how we see sustainability actually has a lot and major consequence on how we consider innovation. So having this clear, it is clear for us that we are running dangerous beyond the planetary boundaries. The model we are currently in is that is based on limitless consumption of biologic and other resources goes against the real essence, the essence of the planet as a closed system. For us and for many other scholars, there is clear that there is an urgent need to operationalize a paradigm change that will go towards the operationalization of strong sustainability. To do so, for us, it's interesting to rediscover the bioeconomics of Nicolas Georgescu-Roegen, as it is founder, as it is pioneer of this conception of paradigm shift in scientific, at scientific level, and especially in economics, and provides for us all the many, at least, of the fundamental principles and elements that might allow the operationalization of strong sustainability. So as said in the first part of the paper, I'll discuss about the epistemological shift of Nicolas Georgescu-Roegen. I will spend just a word for presenting him. He was a Romanian-American statistician and economist, scholars of especially his master Joseph and he developed in a time where there was a great influence of natural science in bringing into critics reductionism. especially in physics and science and natural science. He then see clear the limits of reductionism and mechanicism and economics, and he was really keen in arguing against and the mainstream the foundation of the mainstream economic model that is still actually on fashion nowadays. For him, it was like clear the symbol of this failure for him about mainstream economics represented by the homo economicus assumption that on which all models draw on, and the over mathematization of the economic model, so that actually reduce man and neglect the cultural will and the humanistic essence of our nature. As said, developing the evolutionary approach of his master users Schumpeter, he was seeing the economic process as a live process, as it is reversible in the qualitative change, and to appreciate that, he was particularly clever to propose a distinction on his epistemological approach between dialectic and arithmomorphic concept, and this is the basics for him dealing with dialectic concept, is the basic for him to grasp qualitative change that goes against the over mathematization of the arithmomorphic conceptualization. I will let probably more space in discussion if you want need more information about that. In general, his epistemological proposition try to present a way of understanding the reality on a different set of assumption, and for him, theoretical contribution will come as a logical order description of reality mode of functioning. All these and many others concepts that I'm presenting now are present in his masterpiece, The Entropy Law and the Economic Process, as you can see, is pretty dated. It's 50 years ago. But I think it's more than actual his discourse, and that's why I want to represent his thought. Here, what is bioeconomics? Bioeconomics is, as said, developed from a different and alternative epistemological ground, theorize economics in general and in an interdisciplinary way. So drawing from biophysical and assumption. So it's clear that the biosphere then is a closed system in which life is developing and is as open system, and as we are life, as part of life, as organization and socio-economic systems are special characters of life. They see economic system as open system too. In other words, we are open system developing and thriving in a closed system in which the entropy law it rules. In other words, bioeconomics and Georgescu-Roegen 50 years ago explained to us that we are living in a closed system in which only energy comes and but there is no, in this system, there is irreversible degradation of matter. So as we can see in the figure, an economic system in general do degrade energy and matter for reproducing themselves as living beings. And as dissipative structure, exploit matter and energy to strive toward the reproduction of something immaterial. In fact, since there is we actually do not produce anything, but we just convert energy and matter, integrated energy and matter. For him, as it was for Bergson before him, it was clear that this lowest entropy gives a special importance of the immaterial. The immaterial actually is the output of any economic system, any beings, and might be understood as a dialectic concept. So a concept that is subjective, that is made of social individual meaning. So nothing that can be described in a discrete manner. This immaterial is what actually guides the process of qualitative change, but is mysterious, as he stated. In fact, what is the meaning of life? What is the objective of economic systems in general is difficult to grasp and to identify in a clear way. But that is but this must be learned, and this must be taken into consideration if we want our development to be consistent in this bioframe dimension. As said, and especially more clearly, I think, in my paper, there is if we embrace bioeconomics, it means that we are really embracing and wanting to embrace a new vocabulary using meta concept and striving to use biophysics as heuristic to envision economic process in a context of limited resources. In doing so, we have a chance to learn strong sustainability as the minimal dissipation of resources necessary to realize the immaterial. In fact, it gives us the possibility to understand in an interdisciplinary way the mode of functioning of economic system and organization as dissipative structure and draw conclusion from them. In general, in the second chapter, after presenting the virtue and importance of bioeconomics, in the second section of the paper, I represent the operationalization, so the way to bring this epistemological shift into action. Main effort comes from the developing of the Georgescu-Roegen model of operationalization of bioeconomics, that was found flow model. This model that Georgescu-Roegen himself provides was an analytical framework to represent the process of production. It is based on the interplay of production funds, agents, converting flows, and time. In general, after this complex and model that was somehow betraying his initial thought, his initial intention of giving importance to dialectic concept. So it's another strain of literature developed, taking into account stocks, so bringing a vision that is more systemic and less analytical in a way. So stock and flow model of Buonaiuti has to be mentioned as it changed and somehow found into stocks and gives profundity and the contextualization of the model into local economies and territories. Finally, probably the most relevant, the most critically adopted approach comes from the Muziasm. There is a quantitative obsession of development of pattern of social system. It is great work of Pietro and Mayumi that strive to combine different domains of local economies and try to account of different patterns of development. However, this operationalization has some major issue. In general, these contribution that comes from found flow models that are inspired by found flow models are difficult in managing and gaining a pool of data. They are diverse domain. They are difficult and costly to find, and they are for the most are quantitative and aggregated data. Secondary interest is given to dialectic concept, to the material, to alternative narratives, to representation, to this part of the epistemology of Georgescu-Roegen I mentioned before. And the major probably limit of this approach that has received marginal development. For all these reasons, this model failed to introduce the implication of bioeconomics of Georgescu-Roegen into practice. In the other side, in another strain of research refers to the bioeconomics, however, and it might be seen more successful in a way. Ecological economics, for example, explicitly developed from the teaching, from the implication of Georgescu-Roegen. In fact, in the 90s, this strain of research in economics was intended as a growing arena of new ways of thinking. So trying to embrace paradigm change by welcoming pluralism and guided by instrumental pragmatism. However, this pluralism leads to an epistemological confusion, and it basically led us without any accepted framework that would be useful for its operationalization. And now, finally, as we already heard, and as you can probably have a lot of information reading spatial issue, we have another strain of research and operationalization that is called bioeconomy. That actually has different editor, and here Roman would have something to say about the hijacking of the bioeconomy. In fact, this develops green growth in a weak sustainability way. So it actually hijacked the term without really having reference to the author I am explaining before. So on one side, there is marginal development. On the other side, there is normalization in the sense that betrays the initial paradigmatic and epistemic shift. To resume this literature review in a scheme, we decided to draw this this graph in which you can see in the two axes, in the vertical axis, degree of paradigm change, so from strong sustainability, and on the other side, weak sustainability, and the horizontal axis, the degree of the empirical adoption. As you can see, we have on the right upper side, we have a lower degree of empirical adoption, but still more consistent with Georgescu-Roegen implication. And in the lower left side, we see bioeconomy and ecological economics. So we are then finally having in front a trade-off, a negative trade-off between marginality and normalization. We were asking how we could go towards relevant bioeconomic operationalization for strong sustainability, so they are at the same time radical, so consistent with the epistemic and paradigmatic shift embedded in the discourse of Georgescu-Roegen, but at the same time relevant, at the same time that have a possibility to be applied and known by general public. So to do so, we draw from the we try to draw some information from the literature and understanding and drawing from the comparative advantage of each of the approach. We see how actually systemic approach that are more they are relevant, that they are embedded in the bioeconomics operationalization, allow for a complex, for embracing complexity and representing evolutive system. On the other side, the bioeconomy, as it is popular also because it has the capacity to be solution-oriented and engaging stakeholder in the resolution of real issues. So we discuss in more detail how transdisciplinarity and systemic approach might allow bioeconomics to go towards a more relevant operationalization. As I said, systemic approach would in fact allow to represent the complexity and deal to wicked sustainability problems, as, for example, was done by the Muziasm stock flow model, and transdisciplinarity allow to integrate different knowledge spheres and the public in the pragmatic resolution of a specific, concrete, real issue. So to conclude and to let you guide me in with your question in this presentation, I finally conclude with the proposition we made to go towards a wider operationalization of bioeconomics for strong sustainability. First of all, we claim the use and the adoption of bioeconomic meta concept, as it is detailed in the paper, that are represented by two main things. First of all, bioeconomics operationalization should understand on one side that we are talking about qualitative development of socioeconomic process. So we're talking about conversion, not production. And the other side, we invite to see output of the conversion process as made of two complementary things. One side, the material, so that is the valuable side. So this material that is real complex, that is, as said by Georgescu, mysterious in a way, should be understood. So why of the why question of development are important as the how question, in other words. And then a complementary, we have to see how it could also as the entropic dissipation, so the cost, so in terms of the exploitation of the available resources that are necessary for the realization of this material. Secondly, we invite to engage with the Georgescu-Roegen bioeconomic epistemology. This means to see meanings on the context of application and to describe reality as and to describe legality logically, to be free on using the heuristics of interdisciplinary heuristic of the bioeconomics into the context. Third, we want to, and we think it's possible to understand sustainability as the minimal complementary degradation of the resources that allows for the realization of the material. In other words, we have to be clear, first of all, what is the material, what are the output, the value, the intangible output of development, and then have a clear vision of what is the cost, what is the entropic cost of this. Finally, we would like to continue, we propose to operationalize bioeconomics as transdisciplinary and using a systemic approach. That means to focus on specific problem, the resolution of a specific problem and contextualize issue. And so doing by accounting for the collaboration of different disciplines and stakeholders. In the sense, we have to go in collaboration with a researcher as to collaborate, to work with society, not for society. Systemic approach then would allow to engage with that transdisciplinarity complexity. And finally, we are clear that doing so, we are going towards an evolving methodology that progresses as an interpretation of epistemology in the development of methodology. So it is wanting to restart from the scratch, from the basics of Georgescu-Roegen. In this sense, for us, might drive us towards the representation of studies and application that might go and might learn towards strong sustainability. There is some studies in the end that will depict this proposition. I thank you a lot for your attention. I'm sorry again for the difficulties of this presentation, but if you have any questions, any remarks, any critics, I'm really glad to answer to you. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Pietro. I think it was very clear, very good presentation. There is a question about what means, okay, thanks for the presentations. It's interesting, but my question is what means concretely operationalize a strong sustainability and why it's urgent to operationalize it and what is really driving this urgence?
Thank you, Benita. These are crucial questions. First of all, why it is urgent to operationalize? Sorry, I read the question here. So operationalize is bringing into practice by empirical research, or by action research, or simply by innovation. And depending on what is our field of interest, we could see operationalize as bringing into practice some conceptualities. We do so in general in normal life. We produce into practice concept and ideas that sometimes are hidden or are unconscious. For example, we are most of bioeconomy in with the Y, or in generally environmental economics do actually operationalize environmental economics and thinking. So all what is behind the implication of assuming Homo economicus as, and so human as utility maximizer, are fully rational, as unsatisfiable being, and egoistic, and so on. So in general, it is urgent to me, then to us, and for many scholars with me, to operationalize another paradigm, another way to see innovation and to see development, because it is clear for us that the model and the way of thinking centered on man and the positivist way to approach development is actually causing damage to the Earth system. And generally, this is clear, more and more clear on the banner of the Anthropocene, in which we see clear how the impact of the human development is as a scale of geological epoch. So implying climate change and implying also all the disequality that we inherited from the positivist enlightened colonial model of thinking. So in general, when I'm talking about strong sustainability, I'm referring to a paradigm shift based on a new epistemology that recognize man in nature and not man over nature. This is it's philosophical at this level. That is also all the problem, all the issues of operationalizing strong sustainability, because it somehow goes against of the very way we consider science, and the very way positivism in general, and in the very way we see our income. It is a real challenge, but the academia research, I mean, we are found for that, for going beyond society. So that is why, for me and for many other scholars, strong sustainability in general should be studied, even if it's challenging. Okay, if you want to reply, if we want to have a free discussion in general, it's good to me. So I let you guide in if there is any other question.
There are a lot of questions in the chat. There are also hands that are raised. That there is a question about, are people, societies, and economic actors ready to accept and operationalize this new paradigm?
Are people okay? Okay.
Acceptability.
Yeah, I'm reading. When we see people and society, we are generalizing, and so there are people that are not. Most of the people are not. There are people that are. New emerging way of thinking. That is also the context of the new publication I'm doing. There are bottom up alternatives that are emerging, and as I already did in a previous work, I try to see the operationalization of bioeconomics, for example, in an NGO, in an association where it embeds this way of thinking. So letting them structure and use a model that is more similar and represent better their essence of change, then it is a management approach inherited from the mainstream economic and management school. So in this sense, I would like to propose a way for an approach for those researchers, for those people in the field that feel that understand this challenge. I would like to have the tools to pursue this path. So I'm not claiming that this has to be this model will be functional in other contexts or in mainstream concepts. For sure, mainstream economy would better be run using mainstream tools. But in other way, I think that we are far from people really understand this, but there's plenty of association of people, of organization, of enterprise that are ready to invest and to turn the page and take the risk and the pleasure to pave a new way. I can give special. I do a longer answer because I was before joining again the research. I was the representative of research of an organization of such, and so if you are interested to see in the specificity of this, there is a book chapter that I write and describe this an association by employing this epistemology. Okay, I pass. If we have time, I don't know. I didn't check the time.
Yeah, we have time.
I'm talking really slow. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Perfect.
I am.
And there is a question from the
yeah.
Master 2, and there was also a hand which was raised by Master 2
Yeah, Amy.
And
okay. Why do you need the reference Georgescu-Roegen to get your conclusion? I'm not sure Georgescu-Roegen would buy what you call systemic approach, in particular stock flow model. I agree in the sense. Georgescu-Roegen, in presenting what I'm presenting, I'm sure I am somehow going beyond Georgescu-Roegen intention, and purposely, because I recognize the marginality of this model, of found flow model. So I do want to go beyond this model, and I explain the reason why I go toward a systemic, and I'm not sticking in found flow model or stock flow model or others. But I still the need to reference to him because I think is the author that represent better than the other the interdisciplinary essence of economics, of management, or in general of the way of how we see development. So and also it was pretty clear on epistemological conduct to do so. And he was, unfortunately, he was the very first that did not apply his epistemology, and with the found flow model, revolve around again the over mathematization of something, leaving no marginal context to dialectic. But I can understand him. He was a statistician, so everyone has a way of seeing the thing. But I'm not claiming Georgescu-Roegen perfect. I'm not claiming myself too. But I think systemic approach might go beyond, go in maintaining the essence of its epistemology, might go beyond and has better chance to be operationalized.
Thanks. And there is a question by Dimitri.
Dimitri, okay, I'm going.
To operationalize strong sustainability, is it necessary to innovate in the philosophical approaches of human societies, or to revolutionize the economic organization through political actions?
Okay, I think that if we, as I probably can show you in the slide, for me, the point is, if we start to, I'm going to the point probably, still, I will respond by myself. The point is that most of development is unquestioned. The simplicity and the beauty of the discourse of Georgescu-Roegen and the bioeconomic I'm claiming for is that replace importance to what is the reason of development, the why question, the immaterial. So most of the production, most of the model that we are also really engaged in innovation is for reproduction and hedonistic, consumeristic imaginary. So the why question, why innovate, is for letting people be hedonistic or be egoistic, or actually be reproducing their homo economical essence. So in a way, if we adopt the bioeconomic approach, we would be able to highlight and to explicit the purpose, their ultimate purpose of our development. And if we would be able to do so, we will see immediately the inconsistency of our development model. So first of all, if we will do so, I think we will have an impact on academia and society. But I'm not sure that will be enough, because we have plenty of things that tells that our model is unsustainable, but still we go in this direction. But as I said before, I think there is plenty of people, plenty of association, organization, institution, whatever, that would love to be treated as to be aid, to have tools to be represented in a different way. Or no-profit organization. Why no profit? I mean, they could be named differently. They could have a different way to be represented and not still be in some way forced to use a vocabulary or a frame of concept that are somehow different for their essence. In this sense, I like to give. I mean, there are many readings that do so. Banerjee about decolonizing the Anthropocene is saying these things pretty well. I mean, I think we have to go beyond to go towards strong sustainability, to really develop on the Anthropocene in a proper way. We have to do the effort to go beyond our positivistic and colonialistic ideals of are made on science and positivism, but also in the other way of the egoism of ourselves. And the world is, I mean, I believe in bottom-up solution. That's why I moved from economics to management, because now the focus of my study are indeed to study and to represent bioeconomics in transdisciplinary way. So in the context, in the macro, where is possible to do qualitative research, to give, to feed bioeconomic with all qualitative and elective concept, and no more with over mathematization and aggregated data that actually would implicitly force us to stay on a mechanistic and analytical methodology. I'm sorry, probably I'm too confusing for you, but hope it's giving you some sense what I'm saying. I'm let you guiding me in the question if I have more time.
Then there is a question of Fabio Maria, sorry, which is about Thank you for the presentation. In my opinion, we need a big jump in accounting entropy. The first steps are represented by ETS and other penalties, but we are very far from including thermodynamics into economy. Das Gupta's approach gives values to biodiversity and ecologic service. This is good, but it's not strong sustainability yet. How can we make it fast but strong?
Thanks, Fabio. I mean, when I say also in this slide, new vocabulary, new meta concept, biophysical heuristics, it's to embrace a paradigm shift in science. It's an effort that should be done collectively by academia all itself. I mean, that's why I'm keen to Georgescu-Roegen, because he was for him was clear. We need to do our epistemological shift in science, then in society. And when we do so, epistemology and paradigm touch everything, touch all the field, touch all the operationalization. So probably I'm too idealistic, probably I'm too ambitious, probably I'm really understanding myself, only myself. So, but we need to start at some point. We need to give structure to the epistemological shifts I'm talking about. So men in nature. So no more positivist vision of development and so on, and all what it implies. So I'm totally agree with you. I'm not specialist about what you are talking about, but accounting entropy, it's real challenging. It is, if you are into that, the models of that are inspired by Georgescu-Roegen, so fund flow, stock flow, museism, and so on, they do so. And I think it's really good point to start. Stock flow model, I really like it. But what is missing, and I think they will never be impactful if we do not link. We don't really answer the main question: what is for? What is? I mean, because we can do entropy accounting by serving by into a greater model that do not account for the real essence of the economy, of the bioeconomy. So, for example, we can do entropy accounting and then be greenwashed because we are serving a market solution and so on. So, I'm probably fuzzy in this moment, and I'm sorry, but in my paper and in my work, I try to give importance to the material, the metaphysical, the complexity of the human, to the why question, and then accounting, and then normalization. I think it's essential then to have a normative approach, but those should be informed by qualitative and complexity approach. And I think Georgescu-Roegen provides the good frame to start in this effort.
Then,
sorry.
And Fabio, he continues, but it's more kind of remark. He said probably we have to focus on the immaterial. This means on the values, the ethical foundation of economy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in other words, I mean, the proposition we do is to explicit, to render clear, evident, to highlight the ethical driver, the moral driver, the subjective position we want to do in our development and in our innovation. If we do, I mean, there is nothing of objective, neutral innovation. I think as everything is important is for what and for and then we can manage in a more efficient way all what we've done. But if we do not pose this question at the beginning, we will keep using model assuming that we are self-interest, that are utility maximizers, that our value are more similar to homo economicus. That is the worst of us, I believe. So for myself, yeah, I mean, and it is a mysterious, enigmatic question, and so yeah, sorry. You can continue if I left.
Then there is a question posed by Alieno, who says that, who thanks you again for your presentation. And our question is about to operationalize a strong, sustainable bioeconomy. Are there already tools that would integrate this transdisciplinary systemic approach that could integrate Georgescu-Roegen epistemology? And to what extent is a framework combining the models you have presented possible?
Okay, so I mean,
integrated part of.
Thank you a lot, Elinor. As I said before, as I mentioned before, I do an empirical study consistently with this what I'm presenting. So basically, I develop a model that is called agent activity model. I probably have it here. Sorry if I skip it so fast, but we have it here, yeah, because I put some. That was a research design where I tried to, in an association, to sketch, to really have to apply the bioeconomics essence. And here is the model. I will give you probably too short a presentation of it, but you have it in a previous publication. I have with my name to 2020, in which I try to provide a way, a methodology to represent an organization employing the bioeconomic epistemology that is made of two main things. On one side, there is the evaluation of a bioeconomic system itself. So it's a photography, a representation of an organization that is made by the value boundaries, so the norms, purpose, why people are working together, and is populated by systems, called by agents, material people in material representation. Having this photo, static photo of a complex system, then we can see activity. So then we can see how those systems interact for producing what is their ideal purpose. And simply by considering their outcome on their agent of the activity in a positive, so enriching or negative, exploiting the agent might be a way to see sustainability. I mean, it's too. This was really short, really short, and I would have to. I mean, this was a piece of work of more than 100 pages, so I can give I can give it to you, and I will be honored. Will be a real pleasure. But in a way that yes, there are, but they are drawing, but they are they're really at the early phase. But I am conducting this kind of research. I'm trying to do so, and especially bringing in the importance of process, of the time, so and so learning. I am trying to couple with this approach with the learning sphere. So how organization learn driven by these norms and purpose. But yeah, I'm not sure I answered your question. I was just wanting to show you this slide probably, but sorry. If you have any other remark, please, yeah, I'm here for that. Probably I run out of time.
No, there is
you would
still
tell me.
10 minutes left. You're perfectly on time. It's
Okay.
very rich conversation. Are there
Thanks.
any other remarks, questions, or if it's not in the chat, if you prefer to raise your hands and ask a
Yeah.
question directly, make it more interactive than me reading your very nice
Yeah,
question.
sure. I just so telling you, saying to you, I'm pretty tired today. I say I am brain injury. Now, if you, I really would like to answer your question, but probably is if you read my piece of work, will be more clear of myself talking. But no, I'm really here to answer your question, and I'm really glad to do so. So if there is anyone, I will really be glad to do so.
I don't know. Is there any other questions? Otherwise, we will thank Romain and Pietro. Many thanks, Pietro. I understand that you're tired after your, and thanks also for having accepted to giving your talk and answering this intense session of questions. It
was a real pleasure. Thanks a lot for this occasion, and really looking forward for others.
Thanks.
Transdisciplinary innovation.
Yeah, bioeconomy is always very pleasant and interesting and tricky topic. I just would like to remind you the two next webinars of the Tuesday of Innovation. So the next one is October 18th. So it's always a Tuesday, Tuesdays of Innovation. It's about participatory research action. And the other one is November 29th, and it's about about circular economy and innovation. And then for 2023, we do not have for the moment a specific program, but we are working on it, and I'm pretty sure that for the next one I will be able to announce the seminar program for the beginning of next year. Blondine, do you want to say something, make some announcements about the activities of the network? Or
hello everyone, and many thanks Mireille, many thanks Romain and Pietro for the nice presentation. In fact, Mireille, you already said about the next Tuesdays of Innovation, so I don't have other conferences to announce, only perhaps the General Assembly of the Research Network on Innovation, which will be on December 12th. So it will be in hybrid form, so you can take part in Paris, so join us through the internet. And so December 12th, I recall. And also, well, that's all. Many thanks to all the participants. We had students from master program, because the Tuesdays of Innovation are linked with a program which is called Research Network on Innovation Master Link, which links the master classes in various universities in France and perhaps in other countries. It's open, they can join us also. Also in Italy, sometimes we have some colleagues joining us, and Vietnam also. And so thanks for all being there, and there will be others in the next time for the next webinar.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Pietro. Thank you, all.
Thank you, Romain, Pietro. Thank you again, and have a nice afternoon. And see you all October 18th. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Have a nice afternoon. Bye.